makes sense. Is Jake coming back during the trilogy? You know, when you're reading the second novel, you continue to ask yourself, is Jake coming back and at some point? Is he really dead?
Well, I'm sorry to say he is really dead.
Yeah. Okay.
And he is not coming back. But Talulla does inherit his journals, so every now and again Jake's narrative voice reappears in the story. But what's also true is that by the time we get to book 3, one of the narrative voices is like Jake squared. So the pyrotechnics on the page that you associate with Jake, the black humour, the literary allusions, they will reappear in book 3, although not in Jake's person.
And let's talk about the new novel, Talulla Rising, L'alba di Talulla in Italian. Tell me one actress Talulla is inspired to.
Well, you know, the honest answer is that the physical descriptions of the character, I mean, these characters exist in my head in a way that is not really visual. Although Talulla is quite specifically described by Jake in the first book, I have a vague image of what she looks like, but it's impossible for me to think of real-life actors who precisely match the characters. There was an actress in the 1970s called Barbara Parkin, before your time, because you're so much younger. But she was an American movie and TV actress. And I imagine Talulla looking like a rougher version of Barbara Parkin. So readers who are interested can Google Barbara Parkin, and they will see where I'm coming from.
All right, okay. In the middle of L'alba di Talulla, there is this long, amazing scene. It's a sequence actually about Talulla being kept captive by the Woko.
Yes.
That sequence is so stock genre in a way, so precisely horror, and at the same time it's so existential and metaphysical. Could you tell us, if there's some kind of reference in this scene, because it's so familiar in a way? It's like worse than most painful prison movies, like Alcatraz or the
Shawshank Redemption. Yes,
that one.
Yes. Well, I suppose that the ghostly archetype for that scene, for me, actually is from 1984 with Winston Smith and O'Brien in Room 101. The horror of incarceration and being physically at somebody else's mercy started for me imaginatively when I read 1984. Most of the fiction that I've written has been very firmly rooted in the reality of the body, and the awfulness of that being located in a vulnerable, finite, physical body always seems like God's cruelest joke. So for characters who have depth, sensitivity, and imagination, the worst place that I can take them is a place where nothing else matters to them except what happens to their body. So the archetype is probably 1984, because that's still to me the most hair-raisingly awful interrogation scene or incarceration scene that I've ever encountered. But beyond that, I suppose it was the idea of somebody who knows exactly what it's like to inflict suffering on another person, having it inflicted on themselves, and the disconnection, because no amount of violence that you do to somebody else prepares you for the reality of violence being done to you. So that was always foreseen at the outset. And plus, actually, about 6 months before I started work on Talulla, I read another writer whose name I cannot now remember, saying that the formula, her formula was to give your character a very simple objective In the case of Talulla, it's to recover her child, and then just make it as difficult as possible for them to do that. So the place that it's most difficult to imagine moving forward from, for me, is physical incarceration and that kind of complete incapacity for physical action.
Yeah.
So we have to move naturally.
Naturally.
Thanks, man. Thank you.